It is what it is with that. We do rowdy shit all the time. We'll just have to live with it. And it's got enough for it to slip right in there, no problem. So that means it needs to be adjusted. That's torqued. All right, the head of the motor's done. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Rowdy DB, and we are back at it. You already know what's going on. So we got the big bore kit, got the checklist here. We got the cylinder, piston, piston pin, piston clips, gaskets, stickers, and instructions. This big bore kit works for the CRF XR80s and 100s, and it turns it into an XR95, or if you have the 100, it turns it into a 120. It says wash the cylinder with hot soapy water and apply thin layer of non-synthetic 10W40 motor oil. How else was I supposed to do this?
Why are you still here? Go to the next screen.
Yeah. We got the surface all cleaned up. Now I think we're ready for the piston. All right, silver and chrome ring goes in the top groove with the letters dots up. And it's a silver chrome ring goes in the top groove with the letters / dots up. So we'll go ahead and put this on. Alright, so we got that ring on. The black dark ring goes in the second groove down with the letters dots up. So here, we got the letters up here. We're going to do the same thing. Kind of turn it a little bit to start it so it's in a different position. Start the one side. And then you slowly want to bring it around town. There we go. Now we got both rings in there, both top rings in there. Thin rings on top and bottom of corrugated oil ring. Corrugated ring ends must butt up, do not overlap. So what they're saying is right now they're butt up to each other. So you don't want it to overlap like that. You don't want it to be like that. You don't want it to go like that. You want it to be butt up because you can see the two white ends. Keep them together just like that. So this is going to go all the way down here at the bottom spot. Get that in there. Alright, see? They butt up to each other. I'll show you the spacing so you can kind of see it. You can see the spacing and there's that little mark, and then if I open it up you can see it there. They're butt up right next to each other. We're going to move it off to the side a little bit. Thin rings on top and bottom of corrugated, so it doesn't look like they have a certain way of going in there. So we're just going to get them in there. So I'm going to start it in there and slowly work it around. Try to keep your thumb right where you started so it kind of keeps it in there, and then just slowly bring it around. You don't want to pull it too much. Alright. So it looks like we got that in there. Always want to make sure the corrugated ring is butt up to each other. So yep, there's the mark there. They're butt up to each other. It's kind of hard to see the opening there, but there's the opening on the top ring. So I kind of want to go on the opposite side and start on this side. I am going to reference my XR80, XR100 service manual just to make sure I got the ring gaps. And then once I have them correct, I'll show them to you guys. So like I said, we're going to start off on this side now. Now we're going under the corrugated ring. And again, we want to work around. Don't want to pull it too much. Just kind of want to slowly get it around there. Alright. And we got that one in there. So the ring gap for the bottom corrugated ring is out here. And the one for the top is right there. So they're opposite from each other. I think that's how it has to be for those. Alright, so I was a little wrong. So with the intake pointed this way, the top ring is going to be over here. The gap is up here. The bottom ring right under that one is just over here. So you got top ring gap here, the ring gap right under it here. The corrugated ring doesn't have a specific spot where they're supposed to butt in together, but I was wrong with the two rings. The top one ends right here, and then the bottom one ends right here. So you want to make sure that you have your rings like that. Just to make sure nothing stupid happens, I'm putting this in here, because if it falls in there, I am going to cry. I promise you I'm going to cry. I'm just doing it for safe measures. I rather prevent it from happening. Let's try that again. Make sure that's seated. I'm just going to spin it just to make sure it's seated in there. Yep, and we got that in there. Pistons installed. Alright, so now since we got the piston in there, I'm going to leave that like that for now. Move my stuff off to the side. We're gonna move that off to the side because we do have to get, we got to get some of this, we got to get the cylinder stuff into the new cylinder. Alright, so the metal gasket goes on top. Alright, so we need these dowel pins. Yeah, so that's that right there. Still got some oil in there, do we? We could use a little bit more. Just want to make sure that's nice and looped up. Alright, so let's get these dowel pins out there so we can get them switched over. That was nice, that worked. Alright, put the new dowel pin in. Went in there a little loose, but that's alright. That one was a little tough, but that's alright. Get a good wipe down on it. Send her into home. Boom. Alright, so this hook comes out and that should just drop. Alright, so I think, oh, we got to get that dowel pin out of there. Hold that for now. Let's do this backwards now. Throw that pin in. And you just got to get this little thing up in there. Boom. So now we got that in there. Is it upside down? No. For a second I thought it was upside down. I'm like, what? Alright, so we got that in there. Dowel pins are in. So let's get that chilling off to the side. Let's get this dowel pin out that we need for up here. That dowel pin came out all right. All right, let's get this one in here. Let me clean that out real quick. There wasn't much in there, just a little bit of oil residue sitting in there. Get this to drop down. All right, that one is set, that one is set. Alright, Alright, so we're done with this cylinder. There's nothing else we need off of this, so that can go over there. Cylinder installation. Install a new O-ring on the cam chain. Alright, so now we need the cam chain tensioner in there. Let's get that wherever I put it. The GoPro had to take a break because it got too hot. But we got the cam chain tensioner installed. So what you want to do is, once you install this, once you get it hung up there, you want to push it down, tighten up the lock, tightening up the lock bolt, and then it'll hold this, keep tension on it, and then you tighten up the lock nut. So that's how you install that. So now the next thing to do is install the gasket, which I started putting it on just now. Get the gasket all nice and even in there. Yep, everything's lining up good. And next to cylinder, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of oil on my finger and get it all over the outer side of the piston rings, the inside of the cylinder, and we're going to slowly get it in there. I am going to need my magnet to keep cam chain out, so we keep that out, and then I'll bring it through the cylinder. But yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so the piston's pretty oiled up. Now let's get the cylinder a nice coating. It's still oiled up in there, I just want to make sure it's got a decent amount of oil. Alright. So we got the gasket on, timing chain is there. Alright, everything is going through. Let's get the piston, the head of the piston started, and we want to compress the rings as the cylinder kind of falls down. So you want to give the cylinder a little bit of tension down as you compress the rings, and don't get your finger stuck under the piston like I just did. Damn, piston's a little sharp. It's about to make me bleed. That's crazy. That piston is that sharp on the bottom skirt that it's about to make me bleed from chomping on it. I need like another hand. There we go. Come on. Come on. We're close. We're close. Get that ring in there. It's fighting the second ring. Alright, let's go back up just a little bit. Alright, go back up just a little bit. Make sure everything is good. Can we come back down even again? Not like that. Actually, that might be able to help us. No, because it's not going down even. Come on, back up. Make sure my ring gaps are still good. Yeah, my ring gaps are still good. That one's still there. Yeah, ring gaps are still good because they do move a little bit, but I'm trying to just press them instead of sliding them. Oh, I think we got something there. Come on. Just gotta get past the second. The second ring is the one that's giving me the problem right now. I want to use my freaking chin, but I don't want to get oil over myself. backside. And these two should, come on. There we go. We got her. Had to use my chin a little bit, but we got her. Do I have oil on my beard? Alright, so we're still doing good. Let's get our timing chain through. Nope, don't grab onto that. That's not yours. It's a pretty good magnet. Go. No! I don't have time for this timing chain. I really don't have time for this. There we go. Well, she's definitely gonna have some good compression. Alright, so we got the other cam guide here. Get this all cleaned up. It's already oiled up from my hands. So we just gotta get this in here. Make sure this is still holding because we don't want to lose that. Slide this down. And put that into place. Yep. Alright, so we got both timing chain guides in. Cylinders on. Look at that. New piston, new cylinder on already. Make sure the oil is getting up there. I'm going to make sure I keep a little bit of oil up here. Make sure it seeps in there. So 715 is probably what this is. Yep. Alright, so now since we got that on, we do kind of have to clean up this gasket surface. So I'm going to kind of move this over to the side here. That's all good. Let's see if I can get the piston to go down so it's kind of away from my gasket surface. Alright, get that away. Clean all this up. I'm not going to spray. I'm not going to spray brake cleaner right on top of it. I'm just going to spray it on the rag and then use it to clean up the gasket surface so it's nice and dry, and we'll have a nice seal. it stings a little bit. I don't like these rags sometimes. They just leave little fuzzies. Little fuzzy bits here and there. Let me grab a new one. I think it's because of the brake cleaner, to be honest. It's like it's eating it up. Alright. It's looking real clean. Looks like we got a little bit of stuff in here inside the cylinder. Just want to make sure that's nice and clean. Only want oil in the cylinder at the moment. Alright, I think we're ready for that gasket. Let's get this over to the side here, clean up this area. Alright. Now is the time we really don't want to drop the cam chain. Alright, put this right back on because we have trust issues. Stop touching it. Just get on there. Get down on it. Alright, so that lines up. That's all good. So I am going to clean up the inside of this head real quick because it does have a lot of carbon buildup. Do I have a spark plug in here? I thought I saw a spark plug. Yes, I did. I just want to put the spark plug in there. Bring my red rag out. Got a lot of carbon buildup on these valves. The exhaust has got a lot. The intake is starting to look a little better. Wow. And the valve moves, both valves. Yeah, they both move as they should. Yeah, it's starting to come off. The exhaust is just the one that's got a lot of carbon buildup on it. Wow. The stuff in the middle is not coming off as easy, but I'm going around the valve and it's starting to scrape up. Alright, I actually got to head out and do some errands, so I'll be back in about an hour or so. I am going to try to keep going. I do have the intake valve looking really good, and I'm not going to go too crazy on it because I don't know how long these valves have been in. If they are the stock valves and they haven't been out, I don't want to mess with them too much because who knows, they might break. So I'm just going to clean them up a little bit, and I'll catch y'all guys after I come back, and we should be able to finish the rest of this. Alright, we are back. And that came out pretty well. The intake valve is looking nice and clean. The exhaust valve, that's the best I could do. I can put a couple more minutes into it, but that's really the best I can get out of that. Alright, so now since the head is about ready, I think I just found something a little concerning. And I did not even notice it till now. That fucking bolt is broken. So we might be able to get by with it. It's broken in the head, so that's not fun. I might be able to extract it. I don't even know if this will even grab. I really hope it will. Wow, it does. But I can't crank anything. I can't crank that down hard. That's so unfortunate. But to be completely honest, it's only to hold the valve cover down, and the gasket does do a pretty good job. It's a nice thick gasket, and it's not like it's super pressurized in here where oil is going to be spewing out. So at least it threads in there a little bit, but not enough to make me feel good about it. So it is what it is with that. We do rowdy shit all the time. We'll just have to live with it. So now we're ready to throw the head on here. See, everything else is looking good. We got the gasket here in place. Let me go ahead and get my cam chain ready. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this in here like that. Pick this up. Make sure I still got my... There we go. Got the timing chain up here. All right. Everything else is looking good. I just want to make sure my gasket gets seated. Just want to make sure it's all seated. Everything's still going. Yep, that looks good. I'm going to get this bolt in here to start holding everything down. I'm pretty sure that is a 10 mil. Yep. And I'm not going to torque this down. I'm just going to get it tight enough to keep the head down to the cylinder. Would be nice if it was going the right way. Alright, so that is snug right there. It's not super tight, but it's snug enough to hold everything together. Install the cylinder head mounting bolt, but do not tighten. Alright, in the service manual it says not to tighten it, so it's on there, just not tight. Alright, so now we got to get this adjuster back in here. There it is. So we got to get this pin in here. This is the fine adjustment. You actually adjust, you fine tune the timing chain as it's running, if I remember correctly. I'm gonna put a little bit of oil on here, make sure that's nice. All right, so we want to get that in there, and you got to get it through the valve, through the guide. All right, so that's in there. All right, so now we're going to get the adjuster plate and the bolt on there. This locks that in so it doesn't move. Alright, we got that snug. We may end up having to adjust that later. The cam chain tension adjuster has an eccentric cam to control the tension of the cam. To loosen the cam chain tension, loosen the cam chain tension adjuster plate and turn the adjuster mark. So what the service manual is saying, now I gotta loosen this a little bit. What the service manual is saying is if you want to start on the looser end, start with that dot that's on top of the adjuster, start it at the top position. So then when we do get it all done and put together and we have it running, we can loosen up the lock plate and turn this slightly to fine tune. So if there is a little bit of chatter from the chain, we can tighten it and then make the noise go away. So right now we got it right at 12 o'clock. Lock this down. And we will come back to that later. All right, well, let's try it again and actually make sure we get our cam in first. Clean up the inside here. So I am going to take the cam sprocket off. Cam sprocket looked like it ate a little bit. All right, so we're gonna get some oil in here. I don't really have any moly grease, so we're just gonna get some oil up in there, oil up the lobes. Might even just dunk it in there real quick, why not? Yeah, there we go. Get a nice coating on there. And we do want the lobes facing down. All right. Got that in there, lobes facing down. Make sure we get the right side. So this is the intake side, that's exhaust side. Alright, got that on. Need a little bit of persuasion. That's yep, that's on there. That's on there. Put that away. We need 14 foot-pounds, so we're gonna get 14 on there. Alright, so we got 14 set. Let's start with this one in the corner. I'm just gonna have to like kind of hold this. This is fun. Gotta like hug this thing. We hit 14 yet? There's 14. 14. And the last one. Alright, well the camera died again because it got too hot. I kind of skipped ahead a little bit. I went and put the cam sprocket on, and the way that it has to be done, this is how I've always done it. Usually the service manuals don't tell you exactly how to do it. They just say install it, bolt it down to this many foot-pounds. So what you want to do when you go to put this sprocket on, there's a little circle mark that's right here at the top. What you want to do is get that up here and have the bolt holes lined up horizontal with the head, and it will match up with the cam because the cam lobes are down and it'll match the bolt holes. So what I do to install the sprocket cam is you get the cam chain around the sprocket, and what I did was I stuck my flathead in as a pry bar, and as the mark was up top, I put the chain over the cam sprocket, and I would lift this up a little bit, and then you would feel it catch a little bit, and then you can go with the back of the screwdriver and kind of tap it onto the cam. So now since it's fully seated on there, what I do is I use a skinny little punch, and what I'll do is I'll turn the motor over to spin the cam sprocket, and then use this to turn the cam with it, so I can get the bolt to so I can get everything to match up and be able to bolt it down and torque it. Then what I'll do is I'll go back, go to the other side, then bring it back to top dead center to where it's parallel again. So I'm going to show that real quick. We do have to torque this down. I honestly did not know until I read the service manual that these need to be put in a certain way. This one has a marking on it, while this one has nothing, and this one has a flange. So the one that's got nothing, that's a regular bolt, you want on the intake side. The other one goes on the exhaust side. So now since we got that one on, now it should be able to spin both the cam and the cam sprocket without me having to use my punch to go inside and move the cam. And there it is. It's all staying one. Now since I got that one bolt in there, want to get it up high enough right there to where you can get this bolt in. Might have to wiggle it a little bit and then go back just a hair, just to see how it moved. You saw how it moved like that, how it fell? Now it's perfectly matched up. Now we just want to tighten that on there, and now since we have both on and it is even, I'm going to go ahead and torque this one. I'm going to torque this one and then torque the intake side one. And these get torqued down to 9 foot-pounds. So we're going to bring this down to 9. So that's 5. That's going to be 10. And then we go back 1. That'll be 9. Now again, we're going to have to hug the motor as we do this. Might be able to get this pretty easily. Oh, we might have to hold this too at the same time because it wants to spin the motor over. Let's see, how can we do this? How can we do this? Oh, I think I got it. Yep, that's torqued. So now we're going to go back. Our marker's over here now. I'm going to go back. So now that's top dead center right there with the mark up. We got the cam lobes down, and we got the 2 bolts horizontal with the head. All right, now we got this one that we have to do. Hold the motor. And that's it, 9 foot-pounds. So now we got that torqued down. We're going to bring this back to top dead center so the piston's at the highest point. Want to make sure that that's perfect. And it's literally showing half the bolts. So now we're at top dead center. Cam sprocket's on. Cam sprocket's installed. Timing chain's installed. Valves are ready to go. I think I still need to adjust them. Alright, so now the service manual is telling us to loosen up the lock nut so the timing chain guide can automatically set to what it needs to be. Alright, you want to stay like that? You're going to move? You're going to be good? Alright, so the nut's loose. So now it is saying the cam chain adjuster sets automatically when the adjusting bolt is loosened. After adjustment, tighten the lock nut to the specified torque. When tightening the lock nut, hold the adjusting bolt to prevent it from turning with the lock nut. So I'm assuming, so right now, that's pretty tight. That's got no play in it. Start to loosen it. Alright, so I turned it out all the way basically, and now the O-ring's back in. And now we'll get that tight. I think I did that correctly. That is a little tricky. I mean, my timing chain is still super tight. I don't know if I have to turn the motor over a little bit. So that's loose. That's almost all the way out. So I'm just going to turn that a little bit. We're going to go all the way around. All right, let me make sure we're still at top dead center. Yes, we are. Yeah, it's got a little bit more free play now. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to tighten this up so I see the O-ring go back inside. And then tighten this back up. And I think that needs to be torqued down to... That gets torqued down to 9 foot-pounds as well. So we just need this to 12. This is going to go down at 9 foot-pounds. Alright, there's 9 foot-pounds. Can I have my socket back? Nope, I guess I can't. How is my socket stuck on there? Alright, that's on there now. Alright, so now we got to make sure we keep this upright because I do have to pour a little bit of oil into here. Into the head pockets. I'm just going to pour some on the cam too. Make sure it gets some in those holes. There we go. That makes me feel a little bit better. Alright, so we are at top dead center. We got all that on. Our exhaust has more play than the intake does. The intake doesn't have much. So we're going to do the valves. We're going to adjust the valves real quick. And doing these valves are actually kind of easy because I'm pretty sure on the XR100 and the 80, the valve specs are the same for both the intake and the exhaust. Alright, so we got our 0.05 millimeter. You can get that one out there. It's so much easier to adjust the valves when the motor's out of the bike. Because you don't have to go around the frame, don't have to do crazy stuff. Even though this bike isn't too bad to adjust. Alright, so we're going to do the intake first. Come on. Hold my freaking motor. Thank you. Alright, so the intake doesn't feel like it has too much. Lobes are down. Alright, everything seems to be feeling good. I'm going to use my needle nose to turn the top. Alright, now we got some movement. Alright, so we just want to be able to get this feeler gauge in there and get a little bit of drag to where it almost feels like it's holding on but not enough to stop it. So what I like to do is get it in there. It's in there now. Tighten it. And it does have slight drag right there. Right now it's holding it, but if I let go a little bit, it'll slightly drag it. So what I do is I like to lock the nut down a little bit. Now let's check it one more time as it's in there. It's got a little bit of drag, a little bit more than what I want. So what I'm going to do is loosen up the nut just a tiny bit and turn the adjusting rod slightly. So right now I'm able to drag in there pretty well. Like I got a little drag. So now just to make sure I'm good, I'm going to put the feeler gauge back in there. And I'm going to tighten this nut down. Sometimes the adjuster spins with it, so I bring the adjuster back just a hair or two, or even just a little bit, so then when I go to tighten it, it all ends up working out at the end. If you have the correct tools to hold the nut and be able to adjust it and tighten it at the same time, good for you, but we don't have that here. So right now it's kind of holding on to my gauge, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen it. I'm going to bring my adjuster back just a couple hairs, and we'll tighten down the locking nut again. Get that tightened down. And I don't have a little bit of drag, so I'm going to try to see if I can tighten it just a little bit more. And we do have a slight drag. That's perfect. So now we're going to do the exhaust side. So we're going to check the exhaust side the way it is. I haven't even loosened it. I know it's got a little bit of play. And it's got enough for it to slip right in there, no problem. So that means it needs to be adjusted. Oh, we fell off our cylinder. So loosen up the lock nut. Get that in there, turn the adjuster a little bit to where we get a nice little drag. That's a little bit more than a little drag. We got a tiny bit of drag there. We're going to turn that on. Tighten this up. Alright, that's tight. It's a little tough to get my gauge in there. Might have to loosen it a little bit. Yeah, I don't want to have to force it, so it does need to get a little loose than that. So we're going to loosen it. Go back just a hair with the adjuster. Kind of lock the nut on there. Try this again. Tighten that down. See what we got. That's better. That's better, where I have slight drag on it. See, like you can hear it. That's perfect. And it's not too hard to put in, not too hard to take out. So I would say right now our valves are in spec. Alright, so we got this torque down. This is the same torque spec as all the stuff on the top. I went 14 foot-pounds with that. Now it's time to put the valve cover on. And this is a little sketchy given the fact that my other bolt towards the back is basically broken off. But we really don't need a lot of torque up here. I don't even think it gets torqued down that much. Yeah, they get torqued to like 9 foot-pounds, so I'm going to get this one nice and tight. Alright, so we'll torque that one. And this one, honestly, I'm just going to get it in there. As soon as it gets tight, I'm just going to leave it alone. So I'm going to have to push down a little bit to get it started. Oh, it just popped up. Can't really go too tight with that. That's so upsetting. I honestly have to extract that and pull it out later, but that'll be a different day. Get this back down to 9 foot-pounds. Got 5, 10, go back 1, now we're on 9. And at least this one will be torqued to spec. That's torqued. Alright, the head of the motor's done. Alright, so the next thing to do is basically kind of throw everything back together. The shifter, kind of throw the side case back together. It's got no oil in it. We'll have to fill it up with the specified amount of oil. That looks like it. I know we ran into a couple obstacles, like one of the valve cover bolts is broken and it can barely tighten, but we know that that's not a huge deal. Couple little things here and there, but I think we'll be able to get it going. New cylinder, basically brand new top end besides the head, and we did clean up the valves a little bit inside of the combustion chamber. So yeah, that's got to conclude part one, because this is definitely a long video. And no, I'm not sponsored by this video. I really just wanted the t-shirt. I thought the t-shirt was pretty cool, to be honest. But we got the big board kit, we got it installed, and next video we should be putting it in the bike and getting the first start. If you like the stuff that I do, if you've been waiting for this, definitely let me know. I know some of y'all have been waiting for this video to come out. So hopefully y'all sticking around watching my other content. I got stuff going on with the ANYLAND, I got stuff going on with the Hey Bike Villain, and I still got the giveaway going on. Go ahead and click the first link in the description. I appreciate y'all watching. I'll see y'all on part two. This is Rowdy DB. Peace out.